So welcome everybody to our 200-hour yoga teacher training information session and Q&A. I'm Dawn Hopkins, and I'm the founder and lead trainer for this program. I've been teaching I've been teaching yoga since 2006. I've been training since 2008, started my own yoga school in 2011. We are currently training our 11th group. Here in this region, we actually have two other training divisions. One's located in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Actually, Shirley's in Esterhazy, Saskatchewan, and Saskatoon. And then we have another division that is based in Detroit, Michigan. So we co-train together for our modules that are online. We then split up, and locally, regionally, we provide our yoga camps. So it's really cool because we have this opportunity to come together as a community internationally, right? But then our yoga camps then will take place regionally, depending on which one you want to go to. If you want to go to Canada or Detroit, feel free. You're welcome to do that as well. But a lot of times it works the other way because we are in Arizona. It's beautiful here. So one of the things about our training program, or a few things about it, is that we have very small class sizes. So we intentionally keep the training atmosphere very intimate, where we get to know each other, form a community, a little tribe of our own, where we really support and encourage each other, learn together, grow together. And it really helps to, in my opinion, enhance our learning. Jen, do you mind directing her over? Okay. It really helps to enhance our learning and make sure that you guys feel ready to teach if that's what you want to do. Not everybody who goes through this program does it because they want to teach. Some people go through it as more of a personal development program and really diving into learning more about themselves, growing in specific areas, and diving deeper spiritually. So I'll share a little bit more about the training program in a moment, but I do want to continue with some of our introductions, and then I'll dive into that once our new guests get settled, okay? So who would like to go next? I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Hi, come on in, you guys.
I can go.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn this, Marty, so they can see you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Marty Ogle, and I have been doing yoga for about 4 years. And I went through the training that started last January. So I graduated in June of last year. And so my experience has been mostly at Joyful Yoga, doing yoga. And I went to the program primarily to learn more about yoga and possibly teach a little bit as well. I work full-time as well, so my teaching would be limited, but here and there I would like to teach occasionally as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Jan, you want to go next?
Okay.
Now I'll turn so it's facing you.
My name is Jan Ballard, and I also graduated in June of last year in the same class with Marty. And I have been doing yoga for about 13 years. Mine just kind of came together in the Christ-centered way when I was, really kind of seeking out a way that I was doing my yoga personally in that direction. I ran into Dawn's class, and that kind of propelled me to move forward into the Christ-centered yoga. Something I had never thought about doing. I never wanted to teach, but I am getting more comfortable with teaching just a little bit, and would rather do it here and there rather than on a regular basis. But I think overall the program gave me overall confidence in all areas of life. So that's where it's not just about the yoga, but it's about your own personal development. And I can say that I have people I run into at work that ask me, what have you been doing? You seem more calm, cool, collected than you were before. So it's just kind of neat that that's noticeable. So, and it's little by little. It's not everything all at once. It's like this journey that you don't realize maybe every step of the way what's happening. But when you look back, like I looked back at the end of this year, I kind of did a journal on New Year's Day, spent some time journaling. And oh my gosh, when I looked back and, took it month by month at the progress, it's amazing, what has been done in a year. So it's really one of my best years in many years.
Awesome.
Personally. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. You guys will have a chance to ask these guys questions too. We're just doing little introductions right now. So, Karen,
It's
you want to
me.
say hello?
I'm Karen Olson. I'm currently going through the teacher trainer program. I'll be finished in next month, in about a month from now. And I've been doing yoga for about 5 years now, mostly at another studio, and then I've been here for just over a year. And I usually just did, or I used to do yoga just for fitness, and I've got a really bad back, so it's helped that. And then last spring, Joyful Yoga did an awesome retreat that I went to, and that just kind of totally changed my life. And I was like, maybe I want to look a little more into this, but I could never teach. And then here I'm just about finished with the program now. So never say never. It's just really taught me a lot about myself. And I work in a physical therapy environment, and I've realized too how much I can use it in that. So at this point, I really don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm open to anything and just following the path at this point.
Yeah, and about a year ago, Karen was sitting in your guys' shoes. Like, she came to the info session to find out more about it and jumped in. Yeah, so I'll let you guys, I'll turn the camera back so you guys don't have to be on. But if you just want to maybe say your name and share a little bit about, what your current practice is and what interests you, like why you're here, like why you showed up today. You want to start, Ted?
Okay. Yeah, I'm Ted Sanders. I've been here for about a year and a half. My doctor prescribed this for me, and I started going to the outpatient clinic in Gilbert for a little while, and they gave me information for here. And it's been really good. I was in a really bad place, and I've been a lot better now. And I started looking into this because Jan talked to me, and it started to make me think, and it was like, well, maybe I could teach someday, or just I don't know where I'm going, but I think if there's something left, that I have to do and give. So.
Awesome, thank you. That's perfect. And by the way, it's like really awesome to see two men here. This will be, you guys are the first men who have expressed interest in the training program. And so I was really excited, to be talking. Ted and I have been talking for a while, but for Kim, to share that you might be interested in joining us. So I'm excited to find out more about you as well.
Well, I'll go then.
Go ahead. Perfect.
My name is Eric. This is my wife, Kimberly. Of course, she's the one that's been telling me about it. She is the reason why I started practicing yoga a little bit, and I kind of into it more and less. Sometimes I seem to be really into it, and I do a lot, and sometimes I might slip off and only do it once every couple of weeks. But it started off for me health-wise. I had some hip issues and had to have a surgery to clean out a hip, and then we started doing yoga, and after that I wondered if I ever would have had to have the surgery if I had just started doing yoga. After about 6 months I was like, oh, I think I probably could have not had the surgery if I had just started practicing yoga. And then Kim brought this up. I think now in our life we're just looking to reinvent and being familiar with the practice, and we have our youngest son is now about to be on his own and just looking at the next stage of life, and obviously the pressures of success, whatever that means, and just wanting to kind of start looking at life from a different perspective. And this seemed, we're exploring, but it seemed like something that could fit into that. It's kind of re-engineering the way we function.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it will change everything. It's not like we always say, it's not about the yoga. It's about the yoga, but yoga is just a vehicle for growth, transformation, change, healing, whatever it is that we need and we're pursuing. So it's not about the yoga poses. It's about so much more than that. So yeah, awesome.
Although the yoga poses are great.
They're great. They're absolutely great.
I'm a big
And you'll
believer.
know them inside out and backwards.
Yeah.
But
Big believer of
you'll
the
also
yoga.
start to know yourself inside out and backwards.
Yeah,
And that's where the real transformation happens. So
Well, I'm Kimberly Elkins, and I've always talked about possibly doing a yoga training because my first yoga class I ever took, I fell in love with it. And I didn't think yoga was for me because it was too slow. I thought, let's pound it out and be done. But it really offered so much more. And I kept saying to Eric, I should maybe see about getting training to possibly teach yoga. But that sounds scary too. So I put it off and put it off and put it off. And when we started talking, like Eric said, just kind of where do we see us? We just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary on Friday. And in that was a lot of conversation and goals and what do we see ourselves doing the next 20 years that we're together, especially now that we're really going to be empty nesters. So we're here checking it out.
awesome. Thank you.
I'm Michelle, and I've done yoga off and on over the years, but I would say in the last few years, kind of have a knee that's been bothering me and a hip, and did a lot of hot yoga and really felt like that really helped, like almost heal that as opposed to, going more the medical route and doing physical therapy and all that. I just was trying to like figure it out, and it really helped. Then I started to not be sure that the hot part was such a good thing for me, and so kind of dabbled around a little bit. And my acupuncturist had told me about this yoga place a few times, and finally, I don't know, I guess the times worked out, and I was able to kind of make it work. And I went to a couple of them here. I haven't been to a ton here, but a few, and it was such a great class. It wasn't even hot, and I'm like, oh, this would be good. And I've kind of been interested in just learning more about yoga, and I don't know that I really want to be a yoga instructor, to be quite honest, but I really like the fact that this was Christ-centered and that I felt like that was a good fit for me. And I kind of liked the way most of it was set up. I'm like, I think this is manageable without completely derailing my life, because I really can't afford, I don't think I can do that right now. So not make it work out well. So I don't know. So I just thought it was interesting, and I told my husband, I don't want to talk to you about this. I'm just going to go and hear about it and see if this is even like a real thing. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I was excited about it. It sounds very positive and encouraging, and yoga is amazing. The different things that you can do from it. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm Emily Manning, and I guess I started practicing yoga probably like early 2000s and in fits and starts. So back and forth, and I took some Adon's classes way back. I think when you probably first started teaching.
Yeah.
And then stopped going. We moved, so when we moved over here, and I found out she was teaching here, so I came to some of the classes here, and I've been coming here, and also Innervision, which is far. And I'm here because she asked me if I ever considered doing the training class, and every time she brings it up for a new class, I think about it, and then I don't do anything about it. So I'm doing something about it. Here I go.
Isn't that funny that that works though? I mean, I've known you such a long time, and then you just popped into my head this week, and I was like, I wonder if she'd be interested in doing teacher training. And you're like, I actually have been kind of ruminating with that for a little while, so
Probably 2 years.
yeah. And I didn't know,
Unlike you, I don't really want to teach. I'm here anyway.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you guys for all sharing about yourselves. We have two people who are out there. And I'm wondering, I see Amanda. Amanda, would you be willing to unmute yourself and share a little bit about your experience with yoga and what brought you here today? And I think the other person might be one of our people. So Amanda, I don't know if you can hear me. Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. I'm Amanda. I'm from Canada. I'm currently working with Shirley and taking my fitness yoga training in Saskatoon. And that's why I heard about the program here. My current yoga practice started with, I am fairly active and have a little bit of trouble with my back. So I started doing yoga to help with that. And just started to develop more of a passion with it, and also have been on a bit of a personal development journey this past year, and starting to see what happens on the mat come along into my personal life, which I enjoy. So I'm just here to learn a little more and try to decide if this 200-hour training is right for me or not.
Awesome. Thank you, Amanda, and welcome.
Thank you.
Shirley, I think that might be you out there. It says admin. Do you want to just introduce yourself really quick to the group?
Yep, it's me. Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Hi. Can you talk a little bit louder?
Yeah, I can. I just got a new computer, so I don't know what I'm talking into. Can you tell that? It's like,
Okay.
okay, can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Okay, well, that's using my outside voice and not my yoga voice, so maybe that'll work. So my name is Shirley Bertholet, and I have been a yoga instructor since 2006. And I started as a fitness yoga instructor. I was a group fitness instructor, took my yoga training, and then really fell in love with how the practice impacted my students. And so I started to focus all of my advanced education within the context of yoga. So I took a 200-hour training, and then I took a master's level training, and at which I think in my first 200-hour was when Dawn and I met, and we've been friends since about 2009. I think was when I met Dawn, and when Dawn came up with her program for training instructors, I was really excited because it was something that I wanted to do here in Canada. I wanted to be able to teach teachers how to teach yoga. And so I was given the opportunity when I started working with Dawn to do that here. So have facilitated, I think I'm on my 4th or 5th training here in Saskatoon. First 2 trainings I worked on my own, and then the last 2 or 3 trainings I've been working with Dawn in this international model that we now have. So, and now I'm taking some advanced training with Dawn as well, and so it's very exciting, and I'm enjoying it very much. Yoga is huge for me personally, and I notice significantly when I don't practice. So because it impacts me in such a profound way and makes me in general just more centered and just really much more able to cope, I know that it can have that impact on other people as well, and I think that that's just something really important to share. So the more of us that could share it, should share it, in my opinion. So anyways, I'm just so thrilled that Dawn stepped into this arena of training instructors and has found a way to include me in that, and just it's amazing, you guys. It is amazing. It's an amazing journey. Thank you, Dawn.
And Shirley, you have so much to contribute, and I'm just very grateful to be walking alongside you in this journey and developing these programs with you. So thank you for being a part of it, and for just investing in terms of your time and your energy and all your amazing skills and expertise. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Okay, I'm going to switch back a little bit. If you guys want to mute yourselves, that would probably be ideal. But then if you have any questions as I go through, just unmute yourself and do not hesitate to interrupt me, because you're kind of far away from me. So I might not see if you need to raise your hand, or so just feel free to unmute as needed. Okay. All right. So as I was saying earlier, this is a very intimate program. We keep it small intentionally because we mentor you guys throughout. We want to make sure that you understand the material, that you're integrating it, that it's changing you, that you can't hide from us. No, not in a bad way, in a good way, in the very best possible way. Because it's really about not just learning from a head knowledge perspective, but letting the information assimilate and integrate and change you. You know, that's what it's for. And to really go on this journey toward our inner self and learning more and more about who we are and what our gifts are, what is our purpose, how do we relate to others, and you know, in terms of our relationships. And it's really an incredible program in that way, because that's the best part of the journey. The yoga is about changing the way we perceive things, the way we relate to others, the way we ourselves relate to ourselves. A lot of times we go through this world kind of compartmentalized. And so it's like mind, heart, body, spirit. If you think of those things, it's like, oh, you know, we do things for our mind, and we might go to church or feed our spirit somehow. And then we over here, you know, we're doing physical things for our health and our wellness, you know, and our fitness. Or we might see a doctor if something's, you know, if we're feeling like we have dis-ease. So, you know, we kind of compartmentalize our lives, and we don't see ourselves in terms of these holistic beings that we truly are, and how all of these pieces of ourself are integrated. They're part of the whole. And so what I love about yoga is it's truly about uniting us as a whole human being, and realizing that each of these parts affects the other, and they're all the same in so many ways. And so yoga is that. It's union, it's wholeness, it's connection. It's that resting in that state where we are whole, and we are open to ourselves as a whole human being in community with one another, and that spiritual connection. We do have two different training tracks. So there's a Christ-centered training track. There's also an inspirational training track. If you are pursuing the Christ-centered, then you'll be using the Bible as your sacred text, your chosen text to study. If you're in the inspirational track, then you'll be using the Yoga Sutras in conjunction possibly with any other sacred text that really resonates for you, that speaks to you and where you're at. I teach you how to study the sutras. Everyone will learn how to do that regardless of what training track you're on. And you will start to see that there's a lot of similarity. There's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Parallels between, you know, whatever sacred text you're studying and the Yoga Sutras. There's just these universal truths that will kind of float to the top and make themselves known and present themselves. And so it's really beautiful in that way, where we start to see that there are just these capital T higher truths that are present, and can we perceive them? Can we be available to them? Can we allow them to transform us? So that is very much a part of the journey. So we have these, we come together as a small group, but then we also have mentoring locally. So we have small group mentoring. And if you are in Canada, for example, Amanda, you would be doing your mentoring with Shirley in Canada. And then same thing with our folks in Detroit. So we each lead our own training divisions, mentoring, and then sometimes we share people. So when we have a larger group, then sometimes Shirley might mentor a couple of my people, for example, or vice versa, just depending on how it all kind of shakes out. So which is really cool because you get different perspectives from, training, mentoring with each of us. And you guys both had the opportunity to mentor across other trainers. So we really feel committed to making sure you guys feel equipped to teach if that's what you choose to do with this training. So our focus is on providing the information in such a way that you learn it inside out and backwards, and you feel comfortable and confident preparing a class and then instructing a group. We want to make sure that you are in that space if you want to teach. And so we say it's guaranteed preparation. It really truly is. Like, we will ensure that you are prepared to teach if that's what you choose to do with it. And even if you don't choose to do that with it, you still will learn how to do that. So you never know where your path is going to lead you. When I started my teacher training, I only went for personal development. I had zero interest in teaching. Okay, so see where I am today, right? So I went through that going, yeah, no, I'm never going to teach ever. And then by the end of my teacher training, my trainer, I was taking her classes. She went on maternity leave, and there was no one stepping up to the plate to fill in for her. So she was just going to cancel her classes for a few months. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're just going to cancel your classes? Okay, fine. I'll step in. I'll step in and I'll do it. And the rest is history, so to speak, right? I started teaching. I found that teaching filled me just as much as being a student on a yoga mat, and if not more in some ways. And then from there, I had this voracious appetite to learn more, to continue to expand my own knowledge, and then eventually was like, yeah, I really want to train people. I want to replicate what I do because we need more of it. I think you were the one who said that, right? So, and Shirley too, we need more of us. We need more people who are helping facilitate healing and connection and wholeness. We live in a very stressed out world, and we desperately need things like yoga and meditation to help people. So that they can be all that they were meant to be, certainly, but so that we can go through life just, being our best and feeling good. So another thing about our program is that we are registered with the Yoga Alliance. So if you would like to get your RYT 200, we prepare you for that. So you can register with them if that's something you're interested in. As we go into training, I'll go through with you guys whether or not you need it. It just kind of depends on what you want to do with your training and where you want to teach, if that's something that you would like. So it's optional, but if it's something you do want, then you'll be prepared for that, and you'll have this necessary certification to do that because we're a registered yoga school with the Yoga Alliance. Okay. So any questions before I kind of dive into the nuts and the bolts of the training program itself and how it's formatted? No? Not yet? Okay.
Dawn, I actually do have one question. I was just reading through the information, and it says for all those with a distant learning, it's not available to pursue the RYT 200.
Yeah, so Shirley and we provide the option for people to learn in a distance format. Amanda, where are you located?
A couple hours away from Saskatoon.
Okay, so do you take classes with Shirley right now?
No.
No, okay. That's something that we can work with you on. So I'll make sure that you connect with Shirley after that, after we're done, because we do have some workarounds available. And, that will be something that you'll work with Shirley on to make sure that you have the necessary hours that you need in order to be able to register with them.
Okay.
So, it kind of is an individual thing. Shirley is really great at working with people to make sure they get all the contact hours they need so they can register. In my situation, because you guys are all local, it will be a non-issue. We'll meet together personally in person, so you guys all will be able to register at the end. The only time it becomes a tricky situation is if we have somebody who's not in one of our regions, like they're in Florida or they're in Colorado or something like that, then we have to, they would not necessarily be eligible to register with Yoga Alliance because they're not getting those face-to-face contact hours with one of the lead teachers. So it's a non-issue for all of you guys, okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Amanda, I'll just address a little bit of it. So the hours you took with me in your FYI training, all of those hours are applicable to the RYT.
Okay.
So you already have 54 hours, or when you finish your final weekend, you'll already have 54 hours that apply to the 200 hour. So it's all in the contact, the face-to-face hours that you and I have to put in. And we, if you do decide to do the 200 hour and you are interested in the RYT, we'll figure out how to get you the appropriate contact hours. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
don't worry about it.
don't let that be a stumbling block, because we will, like, you already have 54 of them now.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. Exactly. So there are going to be some people who are watching this later who are interested in doing what we call a Christ-centered add-on. So that would be for existing teachers who are interested in adding that Christ-centered component onto their teaching. So maybe they went through, a training in a traditional yoga environment, and they want to learn how to integrate the Christ-centered piece. So I'm going to go over that at the end, just briefly. And for those of you who are in that boat, I will be providing you with additional information that is specific to that add-on. Okay, so just want to make sure I address that in case there were some of you who were watching this and concerned that I wasn't going to address that piece. Okay, so in terms of the way that we structure training, it's formatted in 5 modules. Okay, 3 of those modules are done on Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7 p.m. Our time, Arizona time. And then 2 of those modules are in-person yoga camps. So I'm just going to kind of go through each of them in the timing so you're aware. So the first module is where we really dive into yoga history, philosophy, and theory. We go into how to study sacred text, including how to study the Bible, any other sacred texts, and the Yoga Sutras. And then we go through breath work, meditation, and prayer. That will be on Wednesdays in April, starting April 10th through May 1st, and that's from 5 to 7 p.m., okay? We do live stream that, so our groups can be interconnected internationally, and then we record it. So if for some reason you can't make it to one of those sessions and you need to view the recording later, we have that available, okay? So that will be available throughout your training and beyond, which is really nice. I don't know of any other training program that does that. But if 6 months from now you want to refresh your memory on something we covered, those recordings are available. You can go back and you can watch them anytime you want. Okay. So because sometimes it will feel like a fire hose of information. It's like, wow, this is a lot. And being able to go back and view those things enables you to review anything you need to review or revisit that information as needed. Okay. So during that module, you'll also be required to take 4 yoga classes, 1 a week, ideally 1 a week, and then complete a feedback form. And we provide you with a list of instructors that you can utilize. Okay, it's not just me. I do want you in some classes with me so you can see how I do it for sure. But we have teachers who are here at Joyful Yoga, and then a few instructors who teach both here and at Intervision that are approved instructors as part of our training program. Okay. So you'll also be doing sacred text study. So whether you're studying the Bible, you're studying the sutras, and or any other sacred text, you'll have to, we'll give you a journal form. We'll teach you how to be studying, and then you complete a form about your studies, and you do that once a week. So we really emphasize the importance of you doing your own work and using the tools that we provide you so that you're letting it really affect you and integrate. that's where your teaching is going to come from. Okay, so we can't teach what we don't know. We can't teach from, you know, a space of void. So we fill ourselves up, we learn, and then that becomes the messaging for our classes and the foundation for our classes that we teach later. If you choose not to teach, great, it's still going to change you and it's still going to help you. So it's wonderful information for you to have. And those studies are going to be very independent. So I'm not going to tell you what to study. I'm going to tell you how to study. You choose what. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Any comments from you guys about that? Anything maybe I left out or anything you wanted to add in terms of either the journaling or, you know, the class feedback forms?
So you give us a list of instructors you'd like us to go to?
They are part of my training program.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so they have to be approved instructors and
Okay.
they have to be registered with Yoga Alliance. And so, yeah, I have
Okay.
a list of instructors. Yep.
All right.
Mhm. And that changed a little bit from your guys' training. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's multiple yoga classes that you can take. during
Absolutely.
that time.
Lots of them. All different levels, all different styles. Okay, cool. Okay, so then module 2 is a yoga camp. For here in Phoenix, it's May 15th through 19th. In Detroit, it's May 15th through 19th. And then in Canada, it's May 22nd through May 26th. Okay, so during that yoga camp, we will learn applied basic anatomy, and applied is the key word. It's not like you have to sit there and memorize muscles and joints and joint actions and things like that. It's about how we apply it to our yoga. You're going to learn that stuff, but it's very applicable, okay, very user-friendly. We also go through pranayama, which is breath work, mudras, which are hand postures, basically, yoga terminology, and then we dive in and workshop the level 1 poses. So you guys will start right away learning how to integrate and how to articulate those poses. We pair you guys up with each other, and I teach you, then you guys teach each other. And what it helps you do is really not just learn the poses and the articulation that goes along with it, but you're learning how then to speak that, how to teach it to somebody else, okay? It really helps deepen your understanding whether you plan to teach or not, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I am not reading something doesn't help me learn. I can only learn part way by reading. It's by doing that I learn. And I find that you know, you're gonna get it in lots of different formats. So depending on your learning style, you'll find it's complete, whether you're looking at words and that helps you learn, or pictures, or doing, you know, it becomes very practical, okay? So in module 3, which takes place in June, we will be back in that same format on Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7 p.m. Arizona time. In that session, we learn how to design classes. So you're learning how to sequence classes, how to do messaging, how to incorporate music, how to provide that experience, okay? So during that time, you will put together a practice teach of your own. So you'll learn how to, you know, put together and design a whole class from soup to nuts, like the whole thing. And then you will practice that with your mentor. You'll have an opportunity to teach your mentor and just get feedback. It's really just an opportunity to practice. It's not like a test or anything like that. And then in addition to that, you'll still be doing your taking classes, filling out your feedback forms, and doing journaling. But now your journaling will start to shift, because now we're starting to think about, now how can I study this material, and then what from this material do I want to share with somebody else? You know, how would I incorporate that into a class and use it to teach? Module 4 is in July. We're also on Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7. Remember, you can do this remotely. So if you're traveling, I know in Arizona in July, a lot of people travel. You still can, you know, log in and do it remotely if you need to. We also are recording it, so just keep that in mind. And we're off in August. So, you know, the summer months, it's a little easier. There's a little more space. to get your work done and also catch up on homework. You'll also be doing a project that you will have done by the end of your training. So that's when we'll share with you guys about teacher ethics, leadership roles and responsibilities. We talk about marketing. We talk about self-care during this module. These guys are in that module right now. It's one of my favorite modules. I love them all, but I just really love that module a lot. And then you find out about your project. And so the project is either to put together a business plan of what you plan to do with your teaching, or to put together like a workshop series for a special population that you have a heart for. So maybe you want to work with a specific demographic. Maybe you want to work with veterans. Maybe you want to work with teachers. Whatever the case may be, it's really taking what you've learned and then being able to prepare a workshop series that would be ready to go when you graduate for whatever population you might want to teach, okay? And then in Module 5, our Teacher Practicum Yoga Camp, during that camp, first let me give you the dates. So in Phoenix, it's September 11th through 15th. In Detroit, also September 11th through 15th, and in Canada, same dates. So we all have the same dates for that module. Here, we're going to do more applied anatomy. We're going to dive into intermediate poses, so level 1, 2 poses, and then vinyasa, where we combine breath and movement. And then we also learn touch and assist. So how can we verbally and or physically assist somebody with a yoga pose, okay? And then you guys do your teacher practicum. So you will teach your class that you prepared in Module 3, you'll teach it to the group, and then you graduate. And it goes really, really fast. It doesn't seem that way, but then Karen, can you just say like, oh my goodness, right?
Yes, it's very fast.
Yeah, it goes really fast. We intentionally decided to break up the information the way we did over the course of 6 months because other training programs I've participated in and or been a part of, the information came too fast, and retention is like this, when you learn a lot really, really fast. So we structured our program so that it occurs over a period of time so that you can work and do your daily activities, like, and be a mom or whatever, and still find time to complete this training program. But also because if you're getting it in small doses, your retention, understanding, comprehension is going to be much higher. So that's why we've structured it the way we do. Yeah, makes a difference.
What was the times of the yoga camp? I know we talked briefly, but you just
the times, yes. So on those, we start on Wednesday afternoons at 3 p.m. That first Wednesday, I think we go until the evening, like 8:30, something like that.
So what's it? You said 5 to 8.
3 to about 8:30 Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we start around 8:30 in the morning. One of those nights we go later, but the other 2 nights I think we end around 5:30, 6:30, something like that. I can give you guys a copy of what the schedule has been. Usually it's pretty close to what we've done in the past, but sometimes we're working around different classes that are offered here, and so we need to tweak it every once in a while. But I can provide you with like our current schedule so you get an idea. That's not a problem. And then, yeah, some of it will be at my house, which is right down the road from here, but most of it's done here. And then that Sunday we go, I think, from 8:30 in the morning till 3 p.m. So we're done by 3. That enables people who come in from out of town, because sometimes we get people from out of state, to be able to get back home and, start work back up again on Monday. Okay. And for you guys to, if you're locally, to rest up a little bit. You will be tired.
You're sore.
A little tired, a little sore. But you'll also be on a mountain. It's really cool. Like you'll be flying high. And I mean, honestly, in my yoga camp experience, it doesn't hit me like till the following Wednesday, and all of a sudden I'm wiped. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Because you're still like on that high, because it's just so fun, and it's just like, yeah, it's really just a lot of fun together. So for the people who are doing the Christ-centered add-on, you are required to take modules 1, 3, and 4. So those are the ones that are on Wednesday evenings. It can be done in person, or it can be done via the web, even recording if needed. But your contact hours will be based on whether you participate live or not. So for people who are teachers already, you'll get continuing education credit. And then we have like in-person or not in-person. So it's just going to depend on, you know, whether or not you do it in person. But you are required, like I said, to do module 1, 3, and 4. The yoga camps are optional because you guys have already been trained in that if you're already an instructor. But we do offer them at half off if you want to come in and be refreshed. So if you want to join us for yoga camp, we would love to have you. And it's half price for those of you who've already gotten your 200 hour. And that's all provided in a handout I will share with you guys later, so you can see what the requirements are and you know the differences. There is a little difference in the homework. You don't have quite as much homework as the 200-hour trainees, but there's still homework. So we want to make sure that you can fully integrate the concepts for Christ-centered messaging, learn how to integrate those messages, and then be able to teach a Christ-centered class. So that's what we're equipping you to do if you're doing the add-on. Okay, and you can always get with me if you have any questions about the specifics of that add-on program. So the required reading comes from The Heart of Yoga by TKV Desikachar, and then the Anatomy of Yoga book by Dr. Abigail Ellsworth. And you don't need that until module 2. So we use the anatomy book in conjunction with our own training manual that is provided to you for the yoga camp. So that would be for that. And then you choose sacred text. If you choose the Christ-centered training, then you would use the Bible. If you choose something outside of that, you can use the Yoga Sutras, and I'll provide you with additional resources, and or if there's something else you want to study. So we have an approved list, and I can provide that too if you're doing the inspirational training. And then I give you other resources, things that will come up in our training. I'll say, oh, this came from this book, or this came from that book. So these are some of the resources that I use to develop the training program. And if you really love to study and you really want to dive into it, I make sure that I provide you with those resources if you want to go further with it in your studies. So the application process is that we need the application in before 4 weeks out from the Module 1 start date. So we start April 10th. We would need that by March 10th at the latest. It's called an interview. It's not really an interview. It's just a one-on-one with your mentor or your training division leader, I should say, to get to know each other, to ask any questions that you have that maybe come up later. If you're anything like me, some of these questions won't show up until tomorrow or the next day or next week. And suddenly you go, oh my gosh, I have a bunch of questions that I didn't think of today. So that's an opportunity for you to do that. And make sure that this is the right fit for you, okay? And then you'll have a statement of commitment and a waiver and release to sign. Not a big deal, they're just forms. And then you all receive $100 off for attending this off of your training. And then there is a $200 registration fee now, okay? So that is a required registration fee. That would be due with your application, basically. And it secures your spot. This training, like I said, is small, so it can fill up. Their training group filled up, and we didn't have room for anybody else. So if you want to make sure you're a part of this, then I highly recommend getting your registration fee in, and then also putting that application in, okay? It does get applied to the cost of training. So it's not in addition to, it's a part of, okay? And we can break up payments if needed. You just need to speak to me about your individual circumstances and we can work it out, okay? All right, so that's a lot of information. Do you guys have any additional questions for me or for current trainees, former trainees that are coming to your mind now? feel free to ask them. Everyone will benefit, trust me.
What was the easiest way of managing the yoga camps and fitting that into your regular, like, you already have?
You want to speak to that, and I can speak to that.
Because they're all working full time, so.
Yeah.
It was really okay for me because I had the power to kind of prearrange my schedule. and
Okay,
work
it's your
circumstances,
vacation.
so just days off.
I would say for me, the camps, I took vacation time off work to do the camps. And then weekly, I just want to make sure that I didn't get behind.
That's a
To
big-
be
that's a-
honest, like,
that's kind of a big-
I would do most of my homework on the weekends, and it would take me, to give an idea, about 4 hours a week, 4 to 5 hours a week to do the homework. For myself, everybody's different, so it might take some other people less, might some other people more. I just found that if I kept up with it, then it wasn't, I didn't let myself get behind with my homework. That would save me, honestly. Just time management and keeping up with it, right? And then,
Yeah.
what about you?
Absolutely, yes, because I work full-time and 2 part-time jobs, which is why this program appealed to me, because it was broken up over time, in addition to the information being spread out over time. And I did get behind in November, but then that month that was off, I used that time to kind of catch back up.
Yeah, mine's not necessarily a vacation issue, mine's a kid issue that, there's, unless I hired a full-time babysitter and nanny, which I'm not going to. So,
How old's your child?
I have 2, 9 and 12.
Okay.
Just busy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
I get that. Yeah, for sure. And just talk to me, because if they're like kids who can kind of keep themselves busy, we might be able to just have them in there's a little area where we have a couch, and sometimes kids will come and they'll like bring a device and play with that or read or whatever, draw, while we're in session. So, if we need to work around something that's just not working for you in terms of childcare, we can figure that out. Yeah. I would say for the small child, it'd be a different situation.
No, they're pretty busy on their own. They're pretty busy schedules. So,
Yeah.
So it's weekly on Wednesday,
Weekly on Wednesdays.
and that's how many hours?
Um,
Or is it vary?
It's 2 hours, so from
Okay.
5 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then we have a weekly mentoring session as well. With the group that we have now, because of our schedules and the way everybody's was aligning, we decided to roll right through. So we do 3 hours. We do 2 hours of training, and then we do our mentoring right afterward. So it will just kind of depend on who we get and what everybody's schedules are. I do kind of like that because it's done all at once, but it can be nice to break it up too, because it gives you time to, with the information, think of questions you might have. If we meet a day or two later, you might have more questions. If you're a delayed thinker like I am.
Me too.
I'm a delayed question asker. They come to me later.
And
But,
the mentoring, all the mentors are done through your studio here, or?
All the mentoring, well,
So
with this group, we're meeting at my house. And
Okay,
so,
but
yeah, but I'm the
everyone-
mentor.
You're the mentor.
I
Okay,
am.
all right. I
Yes.
was a little confused about that.
Yeah, no
You're the
worries.
mentor for everyone.
For this group, I am the mentor.
Okay.
Shirley's the mentor for, the groups in Canada, and then Shirley's mentoring the people in Detroit. Until we get to project time, then, like I said, it might slide a little bit where Shirley might step in to assist with some of the mentoring.
So give me an idea of what the mentoring looks like. What is?
So usually it's a time where we can answer questions that you guys have. We'll go over homework. The community kind of forms in that space where we're sharing with each other like what it is we're studying or what we're dealing with in that moment. So sometimes it's real personal. We're like talking about what we're dealing with in our job or relationships, personal life. So it's really a space of support. We support each other, we encourage each other, we help each other. Do you guys have more to add about mentoring?
Not really. It was ours were more phone calling. And
Yeah, ours
ours
were-
had to be split up because you had 12 or
Yeah,
14 or
we
something
had a
like
lot.
that.
Yeah.
I found it helpful
It's
to
helpful.
try to do the homework
Yeah.
before the mentoring session
Yeah.
if possible, so you would have something to discuss about, oh, I did part of my homework and I'm kind of struggling with this part or something of that nature, not to say we wouldn't have enough to talk about anyway, but that helped me.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing with your group. It's just a week flag. So like we'll get together for this, this week we'll be talking about the homework they did last week or things we covered last week. So, so it's kind of like a week behind because we want that opportunity to go over questions you had with your homework or the things you're studying and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Because you're in the group.
Yeah, probably a big theme that I've seen in our group is just kind of helping each other find where we fit into it. Because all of us, I think, at some point think, oh, I don't fit in there. I don't feel like I do. So that's just been a common thing with my group. So it's been neat, encouraging each other.
And what I've noticed in the group format, which is new, is that there are common themes that will show up. So in the beginning, I remember like everybody was kind of studying the same stuff every week. Remember, like okay, everyone's dealing with fear this week, or everyone's dealing with courage this week, or everyone's dealing with something. Grace, I think, was one that kind of showed up for everybody. And it just like because there's the synergy that happens, and you guys are on your own studying. We come together as a group, and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all studying kind of the same stuff this week, and processing the same stuff. We're dealing with the same topics. And so it's really cool the way that happens because of the synergy that forms in that community. So it's like all of a sudden our minds melt.
We had some of that too.
Yeah, you did.
When we would have our phone calls as a group. Yeah. Oh, it's the week of trust or something.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're all thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it shows up with me too, which is really weird. I'll like have a theme where I'm teaching on that particular week, and all of a sudden I'll notice you guys are all studying that same topic, and it's like, how in the world? Just really cool. So yeah, and even if it's not, if there is something else, there's always relatability. Like we all find that we're more alike than we're different, is what happens. And it's a very cool thing that happens. And then you realize, hey, I'm not alone. I've got all these other people who are in it with me, in the trenches with me, learning with me, growing with me, there to support me, encourage me, cheer me on. These guys form their own little private study group. They were the first group that ever did that, and they were practicing with each other. They were practicing articulating poses. They were still doing it. And they graduated in June.
We do. We get together. What do you think of this? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I would turn this way. Okay.
Yeah. They test the waters with each other. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
So each group has its own personality and its own, its own dynamics, and it's really very cool. It's beautiful. Thanks.
One thing I was going to add when we were talking about the camps too is it's when even if you're not going to teach it, it's fine. What it does is it enables you to take any class, and feel like, hey, I really understand what I'm doing here. And I really know how not to get hurt. And I really know what I should be doing in this pose and what I should be feeling in this pose. And one of the things that I realized is you could study yoga for 10, 20, however many years, and there's still something to learn about even the poses themselves, I would say, alongside everything else. But I really feel confident now when I take a class that I know how I'm supposed to be doing, or not how I'm supposed to do it, but just like how I should feel in this pose or what I should be stressing in this pose, and not getting hurt, regardless of who you're taking it from, really.
Yeah, I'm a trained yoga therapist, so one of my many certifications is in yoga therapy, and so safety is hugely important to me, so I instruct, and my instruction has evolved as a result of that training. It really changed the way I teach poses once I started to see the kinds of healing projects that I have to deal with my clients and my students. It really changed the way I teach. And so you guys are going to see this huge emphasis on safety, 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 which is going to make you a better teacher. And it's going to keep you safe in your practice.
So do you teach at all?
I have taught occasionally, not a lot, but one thing I have done is I have advised my family and friends quite a bit about what to do and what to not to do, and making sure that, you know, the knee is over the foot and such, and all these different things. And it comes back to me, all the things that what Dawn said about I learned, and it's top of mind. So I've learned it backwards, forwards, to where somebody asked me, what should I do? Well, I know what you shouldn't do. And this is don't do this because it's going to hurt you. And I'm very interested in the therapeutic side of it. Just personally, I'm very interested in anatomy. And I've done a lot of reading on my own as well, just because that's my fascination. But
So Marty's been taking, we have a continuing education program where we're training in specialty areas, providing continuing education hours, and also master certifying people at the 300 and 500 hour level. And so Marty's already taking coursework in that area because she really has a heart for therapeutics, and we're doing a lot of training in therapeutics. So plus you want to teach in a corporate environment and you're still trying to get in somewhere. Her employer said no, sorry, but too much liability.
In my corporate environment, they told me it was too much liability to have, because I offered that, right? But that's okay. I'm still open for
something else,
whatever else is going to come along, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I have been advising a lot of people from what I know, just friends, family, etc. Things like that. So.
Jan's been stepping in to sub here. And for me, you're going to be subbing soon for me.
Yeah. The first time with a 1-2 class since I graduated.
Yes. And so Jan, you also have been doing, she does a lot of private groups, like, so she'll, lead a group out of her home.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's not, it's been really informal, and I've had an opportunity to use a little bit when I travel, just to get a few friends together in a hotel room and just use what we got. We use the straps, we use the ties from the robes, and we use the bolsters from the beds, and it's just doing a little bit and putting a little bit of a theme in there about friendship and just some casual stuff like that. And it's amazing what they get out of it that they never were expecting to feel, like openness in the chest area and hips, and it was pretty amazing.
Jan's a flight attendant, so she's fun working with her fellow flight attendant friends and stuff.
And I just take the opportunity to have people, my neighbors, I have neighbors that are willing to come, and so to practice, just to have them come in and just wing it and do it with them before I would do a class here, say. So
she does it for her friends sometimes too.
With them.
Yeah, it's very cool.
One more thing I'd like to add to doing it myself, because I have some health challenges too with low back and joints, and it's taught me that it's okay to grab that block and use it if you need to, because I'd rather do that than injure myself. And in physical therapy, I work with older adults, so not everybody has the range of motion, so it's neat to explore that and find those alternative ways to do it.
Yeah. So Karen's a physical therapist, or PTA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so she's really got, obviously an eye for safety, but also a desire to work with people who maybe have some restricted movement, who are dealing with, either chronic healing projects or temporary ones, acute ones, but
down to neurological.
And neurological disorders is, kind of an area that really is true to her heart, and so that's where her project is being developed right now. Very cool. That's great. Yeah. So, any additional questions, you guys?
Yep. Sorry.
On the classes that are not the camp, that you do the webinar thing. I don't know tech stuff, so.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll be in person, so it might be a non-issue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because that also helped with focus issues too.
Yeah. So I think
don't-
we'll be in person. It'll probably be a non-issue.
I don't suffer from ADD. I just right away.
Why not, right?
And I have to tell you, I'm not a
I
techie
enjoy it
myself,
actually.
so I don't know that much about technology either, but I just kind of, for the webinars, and it was actually quite simple for me. And I'm not great at IT or anything like that.
Well, I'm also thinking about, you know, the way you put your music selection together, which I imagine is, because I mean, I just have some CDs that I put on when I practice at home.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I teach you how to do
Yeah.
that.
You can help you with that
Yeah,
too.
we'll teach you how to do that. And I'll actually teach you old school. If you want to learn how to put a CD together, I'll teach you how to do that. That's true.
I was gonna say, I
It
used
doesn't
do that
have
with
to be,
tapes.
it doesn't have to be an MP3, you know, a Bluetooth device. And we still, some of the teachers still use that CD player. And some people are just so comfortable with that, you know, they're not using, you know, some of the more advanced technology that's out there. So I'll teach you how to
The
do it.
only thing that sometimes, I mean, I love the music, and it's like, okay, now I'm focusing on the song, and I need to be focusing on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, oh, I love this song. Yeah.
Sometimes the songs will
Sometimes the
will lead
song
you
is,
into what you're doing, and they will
Yeah.
complement one another.
Yeah.
provide an atmosphere or connect to the message. You know, sometimes we have songs that like connect to the messaging that we're doing. But yeah, definitely, if you know, it's up to you if you choose to use music, and if you don't want music or you want music that's just exactly instrumental, you can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever is your personality, like it's about you learning your own style as a teacher and you know, making it your own. So I don't want everybody to be running around doing what I do. I want you guys to be yourselves and bring forth whatever it is that, you know, you connect with, and your students, we have certain groups of people that are going to resonate with our style of teaching, with using music, not using music, you know, like that particular group will just kind of form, and you'll end up with your own people, your own little flock, so to speak. So yeah, don't worry about that. That all takes care of itself. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Anything else kind of bouncing around? Amanda, if you're out there, let us know if you have any other questions. No? All right. Well, in honor of your time, sorry, I went over a few minutes, but if you think of anything later, I will be following up with you guys to make sure you have the handout. That I try to minimize the amount of paper I'm using. I'm really trying to be conscious of that. So I'll send it to you guys by email along with an online application. So we can do it that way if you're interested. And then that will also provide an opportunity if you have any questions to reach out to me personally. And then, you know, if you want to sit down and have some one-on-one time because you want to talk about your own situation, your own circumstances, and see if this is the right fit for you, then, you know, I'm happy to do that as well. Okay.